Hey guys, this is Matthew Movies coming at you, and I'm going to be hitting you up with my review of Hacksaw Ridge, which is a movie that I totally loved. I thought it was awesome. I mean, there's a few little nitpicks I could throw at it, like there's the opening scene with the kids. The acting is fairly subpar there. There's a little bit of it feels a little bit preachy in points, a little bit, but I think that overall this movie is amazing. I love the performances. The battle scenes directed by Mel Gibson are amazing, which doesn't surprise me all that much because if you're a fan of movies like I am and you saw Braveheart, then you should be expecting a movie that's directed by Mel Gibson to have amazing battle scenes. Because if you know the guy's done some pretty horrendous things in his life, but you can't take away his ability to direct a battle scene like the best of them. Honestly, they're amongst the best battle scenes I've ever seen in my life. They have the brutality of like a Saving Private Ryan, but without it feeling like the Saving Private Ryan scenes at the beginning are amazing, right? They're perfect because they really bring you into the world, and then you get like a feeling of like senselessness and helplessness that's amazing. This movie has the same level of production values, but instead of getting the feeling of like senselessness and restlessness and all that, you by this point in the movie are actually quite invested in a number of the characters, and even some of them, even if you don't like them, you're kind of interested to see what happens in them. You have a vested interest, and especially in the main character played by Andrew Garfield, who did a great job in this movie. So when you see these crazy battle scenes, all these people having these horrendous things happening to each other, instead of feeling like, you know, it's kind of flowing over you, you're really with each individual piece of sensory input. You're really like getting into it and reacting, and so like a very visceral experience, which is amazing because with the level of gore and stuff action that's going on around you, it could easily get to a point where it kind of just starts to make you feel numb, which I never felt throughout all this. And I will warn anybody who wants to check out this movie, it does get very violent in the end, but none of it feels like egregious or like it's there just to get violence. It's part of the point of the movie. If for anybody who doesn't know about this movie, Andrew Garfield plays a kid who's conscientious conscientious observer who doesn't want to take part, and I don't even think that's the right term. I'm drawing a blank on it, to be perfectly frank. But he doesn't want to take part in the battle. His beliefs stop him from being able to kill anybody, but he still wants to do his part. So he trains to be a medic, refuses to take any guns, and he goes into battle. And I thought it was just such a well-told story. My only other little nitpick in the movie is I've seen other people point out the fact that Hugo Weaving is chewing the scenery a bit in this movie, and I have to agree with him. There are definitely some scenes where it feels like he's overdoing it. It's not necessarily a believable role performance in a few individual scenes. Overall, I still think he did a fairly decent job. You really understand who his character is and his motivations, and you empathize with him to a certain degree, even though he's not the most likable character. But yeah, there are a few scenes where he seems to be really going for broke. But overall, this movie's great. Teresa Palmer's in it, plays the love interest. But I've always been a big fan of hers ever since she did a movie with Topher Grace about based in the 80s that I really like a lot. And I gotta be honest, it's late at night here. I haven't got that much sleep, so I'm drawing blanks here left and right. But Take Me Home Tonight. I was looking it up, but I remembered just before I actually got to Take Me Home Tonight, just before I got to it. If you haven't seen Take Me Home Tonight, you gotta go check it out. It's a great movie. But anyways, yeah, this movie, I absolutely loved it. This is definitely a movie that I'm gonna want to pick up on Blu-ray when it comes out. I mean, it's not gonna be a movie that you're gonna be able to watch a bunch of times, but it's definitely, by the end, like one of the parts that's most amazing about this movie is considering the amount of death and destruction and the facelessness of some of it, like where you see these extremely cruel acts in some parts. The movie gives you a very uplifting feel, and I'm gonna give you one major spoiler here, but it's not about the plot of the movie, it's about the production of the movie. At the end of the movie, they show clips of the actual people involved, and I absolutely love that they do that. I do kind of understand why somebody may not, because it takes you out of the narrative of the story to a certain degree. But I always find it fascinating when you have, like, by the end of the movie, you've really bought into this figure, and then they pay it off with giving you some kind of view of the actual man. I think it's really interesting, especially when you hear, like, in his clips, he's talking about it's clips of him. He's talking about the events, and to hear his perspective on things is really fascinating. And also because some of the things you see him talk about happen in the movie, so it makes you invest in the scenes in the movie more, because you know at least part of it is very true to the actual story. So overall, I absolutely love this movie. I think it's totally a movie worth seeing. If you're into war movies, if you're into like battle scenes, if you're into like stories of somebody overcoming things, this is definitely a movie worth checking out. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Please like, hit that like button and that subscribe button. I always love getting new subscribers. It means so much to me. And have yourself a good day.